Back in the early 2000s, the world of gaming was almost completely different. There were no day one patches, no digital stores for a bit, and no algorithm recommending what to get into next. Just CDs, cartridges, and hope. If your game didn't work, that usually was it. You either took it back to the store if you got it from somewhere like Blockbuster or EB Games, or else you just stared at the error screen in silence. Or if you were like me, you tried the old toothpaste trick and pray to whatever God you believe in that you could play your cheap used game.
Is that you are going to want to let this sit on the disc and harden and fill in any scratches.
And that was normal. See, gaming back then wasn't designed to be convenient. You needed memory cards, you needed transportation, and you needed to be of age at times, and you needed that passion. If your disc suddenly realized it didn't want to work anymore mid-boss fight, you just sat there in disbelief, staring at your reflection on the TV like a fool. And the community and culture, oh man, it was real, loud, and in your face. Many gamers didn't have online etiquette, and in many games, your lobby was full of kids that just learned they could curse.
What's up, dude?
What's up?
What be going down in the hood, you know? Or be sniffing that crack?
Let's not try.
Wanna sniff some crack with me?
Similar to what you've probably ran into during your last Marvel Rivals rank up match. When you logged in onto Halo or Call of Duty lobbies, you were stepping into verbal warfare. 50% of all insults known to mankind were probably invented there. Then there were LAN parties, arcades, midnight releases. Gaming wasn't just a hobby, it was a niche little culture. And for every fun memory, there was pain. Tangled controller wires that ended up tearing up your controller sooner or later, corrupted memory cards, used games that barely worked, and internet speeds that made playing games online feel like you were playing underwater. And yet we all kept coming back. Let me take you back. Back to a time when being a gamer didn't make you cool, it made you a target. When games were brutal, online was wild, and the only updates you got were cheat codes that you found out about written in a GamePro magazine.
Everybody should be completely psyched about this. It's the PlayStation 2 computer entertainment system at Walmart. PlayStation 2 has the realism that gamers are looking for. You want to be in the game. You want to be the game. It's got a CD player, DVD player, incredible graphics. You can play the old games on the system, but wait till you see the new ones. It's a whole mental body feel.
Let's start at the earliest part of the 2000s, a time when the only way to play games with other people was by actually getting up and going out to stand next to that person, at least in most games. For a lot of us, the option to just boot up, log in, and play Street Fighter, Tekken, Smash Bros, and whatever else there was out there wasn't available until that Xbox 360 and PS3 era. This meant actually leaving the house and going to visit friends, an arcade, a gaming gathering, or even going to someone's house that you didn't like just to get a fix. And this also meant that you were susceptible to real emotions getting into the game. Listen, there were many instances where fights in the game ended up translating to fights outside of the game. Ever heard of some of the arcade fighting game rules back in the day? Stuff like don't grab multiple times in a row, being enforced with a few punches to the gut, or even knife fights over King of Fighters. Heck, you can still find classic fighting game pop-offs online from real beefs.
If this guy's talking shit, tell him the money match for any amount of money, because he's not gonna bet me shit.
And this stuff wasn't just limited to these competitive scenes, cause I promise you, it's happened in some of those normal homes. There's no muting or blocking like we have now online in person, so you were stuck looking at and hearing whoever was trash talking you at that LAN party.
I just got into Xbox Live. I have this really great high-speed connection, and I was playing one-on-one NFL Fever against some other players from around the country. Now my gamer tag, my online ID is Dark Master.
After we lost arcades, which were the main social ground for gaming, we had the emergence of an even more accessible battleground when the world of online gaming opened up. While there were already online shooters out in the 90s with Quake and Unreal Tournament, and even some online games before that, the advent of consoles getting actual good online brought the hype to mainstream. In 2004, Xbox would revolutionize online gaming forever with the release of Halo 2 and its Xbox Live service integration. This innovation would allow players to match up online, go to war, and hear each other talk during the match using proximity chat. This meant no matter who you were near, you'd be hearing them in battle. To do so, you had to hit the white button on your controller and then boom, you could speak to anyone within 15 or 10 feet. This meant you had to be extra careful when speaking to allies, as your enemies could hear you too. This also meant that for the first time, players were able to vocally curse out each other and say the other obscene stuff that game chats are infamous for nowadays.
Learn how to actually play the game and talk.
Shoot a gun, dog. Learn how to shoot a gun.
Riot shield. What else?
Oh, riot shield. I'm gonna use riot shield.
Oh, now I'm gonna put. What do you want? You tell me you want to use.
I'm pretty sure you've all heard and been annoyed by now of the classic, "You guys wouldn't survive a day in the old Call of Duty lobbies" quote. Well, I'm here to debunk that, cause honestly, every single lobby wasn't like that. If you were really out here not surviving, some obviously 10 to 14-year-old kid calling you a slur, you might need to go outside. But I won't lie and say it didn't happen on the regular, and it didn't always come from kids. I remember being in middle school grinding Halo Reach and Halo 3 or playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 or Black Ops with my friends and hearing a mix of the most insane and corny roasts and word combinations of my young life. Kinda similar to the average Rivals experience. Okay, I'll stop, I'll let that game live. Especially cause reading SYBAU and having the possibility of someone being banned is nothing compared to back then. Yeah, 2000s online game chats were largely unmoderated, so you know them MFs were ready to say whatever came to mind. It was a jungle of boys and men that really needed to get up and go outside. But I'll tell you now, when you found a cool group to squad up with every night from that chaos, it hit. You just had to take the suffering, the annoying guys, connect mics, and fire alarm beeps as part of the experience. Now I will say this, it definitely was extra hard mode being a woman and wanting to speak online during gaming. Cause as soon as those boys heard your voice, it was legit open season on anyone with high amounts of estrogen. And you know exactly what words they were using, what slurs they were dropping, and what they were telling you to do. I'm not going into detail, you cannot make me. Just know that the higher visibility of women who enjoy gaming is a godsend that we didn't have the luxury of back then. But that's only if you could play those games online, cause let's be real, a lot of gaming and online infrastructure wasn't ready for online gaming just yet. For many homes, lag was a normal experience and those disconnects were just a bit of seasoning to keep things interesting. This went double for fighting games. You don't know what it was like playing on delay-based netcode for release year Mortal Kombat 9, Mortal Kombat X, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and bro, don't start me on Super Smash Bros. Brawl. They had us watching slideshows and pretending we had any control over what was actually happening on screen. You were blessed if you could even download some of these games I mentioned when downloadable titles became a thing, cause internet could be so bad at times. Of course, for many years we weren't just able to buy a console and download something on the same day. That wasn't happening without a memory card. Isn't it wild that I have to explain what that is now? A memory card is what it sounds like. An add-on product that you connected to your console in order to save your progress. Without one, well, good luck playing any JRPG ever or unlocking any characters. Bro, as a kid, you should have seen me trying to beat Kingdom Hearts, Smash Bros. Melee, and Dragon Ball Z Budokai 1 before owning a memory card. If you know the struggle of leaving your console on for a few days on end, then you know my pain. And memory cards were like $20, so as a kid you were really sitting there like, do I save for a new game or do I finally get that memory card so I can beat these old games? I was just lucky my uncle randomly decided to get me one day. And don't even talk about when the Xbox 360 sold a $100 hard drive separately if you didn't get the bundle. There was also the physical limitation aspect of gaming back then. Due to gaming downloads not being as accessible to the general populace, being new and sometimes not being available, we all typically had to go out and buy our games in the form of CDs or cartridges. If there was a lot of hype built around the game, there was actually a chance that you'd secure a console but had to wait to play the game you were looking forward to, if you could even get it. Cause when age ratings were enforced and you had parents that paid attention, you have to find a way around buying GTA as a 12-year-old. But let's say you're a smart kid and you decided to wait for a used game sale price drop. Well, that was a big gamble. Back then, whether it was getting a game used from a flea market, renting from Blockbuster, Hollywood Video, Redbox, or Gamefly, or trading games, there was a big chance that your game wasn't going to work when you finally got around to playing. I remember so many times, whether it was a used Smash Bros. Melee copy that I got from GameStop or rental games that I got from GameFly, when I booted up and I was greeted by these cursed screens. GameFly stung extra hard because that was a week of waiting to get a replacement or a different game through the mail. And the junk happened to me multiple times. Like, my dad was goated though, so when we had Blockbuster, he'd take me back the same day to get a replacement or a different game. Another funny quirk 2000s gaming had is that your console actually mattered. This was still an age of exclusive and console segregation, so your console selection was one of the biggest choices you ever make. Whatever you pick, you'd be missing out on something big, unless you're me, because I remember my dad and uncle teamed up and got me the OG Xbox, PS2, Dreamcast, GameCube, and GBA.
Man, stay off the light speed.
My bad.
Anyways, every console not only had its exclusive games and hardware, but exclusive issues as well. But whether it was the 360's Red Ring of Death, Wii's trash online and weaker graphics, or PS3 having no games,
PS3 has no games.
nothing will touch the hellscape that was early PC gaming. Some will argue with me, but we cannot forget how horrible PC ports were back then. And these weren't just ports of some cousin game you never played. Games like Grand Theft Auto 4 and Resident Evil 4 were released for PC in abysmal states and barely ran, crashing over and over. It took years before you went a year without hearing about some game getting botched on the way to computers, and when they came out perfect, it was celebrated. Oh, but PC had another thing that consoles didn't, and that's piracy. While Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation managed to mostly lock up, PC still had easy ways to get free mainstream games. However, it was also easy to completely destroy your desktop while sailing those seas. See, we didn't have trusted torrenters at our command just yet, and sometimes that one download of Spider-Man PC would give you a heart attack until you scanned that virus off your laptop that your parents just gave you. Yeah, I know that was very specific and it's because it came from experience. But there was one shared pain back then, and that was that every game eventually had to become dark, edgy, and adopt the piss filter for a good 5 years. But above every difference between gaming now and then, nothing hits harder than the general consensus in times when you weren't touching virtual grass, but the real life greenery. If you were around then and still are now, you're listening to this video, you know what I'm talking about, so I'll be blunt. It was not cool, normal, or really accepted to be a gamer back then. In fact, if you openly showed a lot of people that you gamed, unless you were a kid, you were looked at as the butt of the joke. This feeling was amplified by shows like Freaks and Geeks and especially The Big Bang Theory, which would haunt white nerds and get them called Sheldon for decades by white moms everywhere. I think I used that joke in a video before. Gaming just wasn't mainstream, and despite coming so far, it wasn't celebrated like it is now. Adults said you were getting brain rot from playing games, and people your age said you needed to grow up. Unless you solely played Call of Duty or any war shooter like that, sometimes God of War, and a few other exceptions like GTA, you were a freak until the world realized that it could commercialize nerd culture for stupid amounts of money. Those people who talk about getting bullied for playing games and watching anime weren't just saying it for internet clout. I saw what other people went through, and I can't pretend it didn't happen because it didn't happen to me. Now those same people that were bullies be running around and saying they've always been about it because it's big now. Okay, let me stop ranting. There were other problems for gamers back then, like not being able to go out and grab merch from your favorite title like you can now. I used to dream of owning Figma, Nendoroids, Plush, and SH Figure Arts as a kid. Now I can just go to the store and open up Amazon and get one without even turning my brain on. The 2000s era was a time when gaming really felt like a secret club.
Have some, male bonding. It was fun,
Why is this game worth waiting up all night?
The game is worth waiting for because it's the entertainment system of the future.
And it wasn't always the easiest to get into. Now anyone can hop online in seconds, download something, and instantly be part of a massive community, which is great. Gaming's more inclusive, more global, and more accessible than ever. But something did get lost along the way. The chaos, the realness, the human touch. Back then, gaming had more heart no matter where you looked. We had connection problems, sure, but we also had a little more connection. You see what I did there?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
It feels like we've traded away a lot of that heart for convenience. Crossplay, cloud saves, instant access. But we also got microtransactions, early access scams, and billion-dollar publishers trying to sell us stuff that no one even asked for. But despite all that, it doesn't feel like the spirit is completely gone. In fact, I feel like if you look in the right places and with the right people, the spirit is there more than ever. And yes, that includes the chaos and foolishness that happens in Rivals matches. Anyways, leave a like and sub if you enjoyed, and comment below some stories about your 2000s gaming experiences, and if anything here resonated with you, because I'd love to read about all of that stuff. Thanks for watching again, and thanks for watching if this is your first time watching a video from me, and I hope to see you again next time.